might wanna buckle up, baby.
Punch it, I'm Jacob and welcome to Lightspeed! After the release of Return of the Jedi in 1983, the next installment in the series, The Phantom Menace, the first in Lucas's prequel trilogy, wouldn't be released until 1999, over 15 years later. The hype surrounding Star Wars had died down tremendously, and although there were constant murmurs of a new film being released or being in development here and there, the original trilogy seemed to pretty much be the end of a beloved series. But as we know now, Star Wars was very much far from being over. And some of you already know what I'm probably about to talk about because of the title of the video, or you grew up like me and was a massive fan of this: Shadows of the Empire. So what exactly is Shadows of the Empire? There's no Star Wars movie called that, so is it a video game? Is it a book? Is it a comic? Well, actually, it's kind of all of those things. Starting in 1996, the multimedia project called Shadows of the Empire started initially as a simple concept to tell about the events that occurred between The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. Luke, Leia, Lando, and Chewie are looking to rescue Han Solo and Carbonite from Jabba the Hutt with the help of their new ally, Dash Rendar. All while Darth Vader continues to hunt for Luke Skywalker, who is also in pursuit by a power-hungry crime lord, Prince Shizor. Since there was a sizable gap between episodes 5 and 6, it allowed for Lucasfilm's creative team spanning across all of its departments to contribute, adding further mythos to the Star Wars universe in a really unique way unlike anything before. It was also instrumental in further developing the expanded universe for die-hard Star Wars fans. It's kind of like the Thrawn trilogy but on steroids, and if you're interested in my thoughts on the Thrawn trilogy and how it contributed to the expanded universe, I have a link to that video that I've made down in the description below. Shadows of the Empire ultimately had one simple goal: to tell a pivotal story without making a feature-length film. So on April 1st, 1996, Shadows of the Empire, a 340-page novel by Steve Perry, was released to the public to critical and commercial success.
All new wonders enthrall you in the best-selling Star Wars novels. Follow all the characters you love as the adventures continue. Read a Star Wars novel today, and the Force will be with you. Don't miss the Star Wars novel, Shadows of the Empire. Available in paperback, wherever books are sold.
And although this has nothing really to do with the story, I think that it's also pretty interesting to point out that the novel's cover art was actually done by none other than Drew Struzan himself, the same artist who did the posters for the original and prequel trilogies, as well as numerous other famous films. It's just a small touch to make everything feel a bit more interconnected into the universe, and honestly, I really appreciate stuff like that. However, aside from the novel, there was also a comic book series of the same name. Although it follows the same timeline and main story as the novel, the biggest difference is that the comics mostly follow the journey of Boba Fett and other bounty hunters, rather than the saga's main characters. So it's kind of like a story within a story. And this story concept would also eventually be reintroduced into canon through the War of the Bounty Hunters comics. I also think it's worth mentioning that Steve Perry also remained a consultant for the comic book series as well. A sequel to the comic book series was also eventually published called Shadows of the Empire Evolution, which actually took place after the events of Return of the Jedi. But what makes Shadows of the Empire even more fascinating is that it wasn't just written material in which the story was told. There was also a video game for the Nintendo 64 released in December 1996, making it one of the exclusive 5 main title games for the console's post-launch content. And as someone who grew up playing that game with friends and family numerous times, I can confirm it's a banger. And I'm not even joking whenever I say that Lucasfilm actually commissioned a soundtrack to be made and recorded that actually accompanied the novel. Lucasfilm commissioned Joel McNeely to compose the score, as he had produced music for the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles. When it came to composing the soundtrack for a novel, McNeely actually had this to say: "Unlike with film music, I've been allowed to let my imagination run free with the images, characters, and events from this story. I have also the luxury to loiter as long as I would like with a character or a scene. Every passage represents some person, place, or event in this story. And honestly, I think he nailed it. The soundtrack is also in the video game and incorporated main themes from the original trilogy as well. It really feels like classic Star Wars music, yet it also has its own unique identity and sound, much like this multimedia project already had. Each track is so creative and unique, but it never once loses what it's trying to reflect in the novel's themes and its narrative. But if you want to give the soundtrack a listen, it's actually still on Spotify, Apple Music, and I believe numerous other music streaming services, so I honestly can't recommend it enough, and it's seriously fantastic and well worth your time. And of course, with any Star Wars related content, toys were also a massive pivotal piece when it came to marketing Shadows of the Empire.
Prepare yourself for Star Wars, Shadows of the Empire. The cruel crime lord Shizor directs the carbonite capture of Han Solo and his imprisonment aboard bounty hunter Boba Fett's battle-ready Slave One. Now, Luke Skywalker goes undercover with Soldier of Fortune Dash Rendar as he rips through space in his battle-transforming Outrider. But can they stop Slave One in time? It's the ultimate ships for the ultimate battle. Dare to enter the Shadow Star Wars, Shadows of the Empire. Figures and vehicles each sold separately from Kenner.
Kenner made 7 new figures and 3 new vehicles specifically for Shadows of the Empire, and Topps even produced several trading cards as well. Shadows of the Empire was a wildly ambitious project spanning over various types of media, and in the end was honestly a rousing success. And even today, some elements of Shadows of the Empire have been reintroduced back into canon, such as the Black Sun crime syndicate in the Clone Wars, and Dash Rendar actually appearing in a movie tie-in book for Solo, a Star Wars story back in 2018. I'm really surprised by how many people don't really talk about Shadows of the Empire anymore. The project really contributed to Star Wars' ever-expanding universe in huge ways in the 90s, as well as helped bringing Star Wars back into the public eye after such a long hiatus. And after hearing all of this, you might be thinking that there's no way another multimedia project could really match the scope and scale of Shadows of the Empire. But what if I told you that there was actually an even bigger multimedia project within Star Wars, and it's actually still going on today? But much like Maz Kanata would say, it's a good story for another time. That all being said, what did you think of Shadows of the Empire? Did you like it? Are you not a fan? Did you grow up with it like myself and many others? Let me know down in the comments below. Also, if you enjoy talking about Star Wars, I have a link to my Discord server down below as well. And as always, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and until the next video, may the Force be with you.